Hey everybody, we are back to talk about some bowling balls. Been away for a while. We got lots of newness. We got new music. We got new camera angles. We got new thumbnails. We are ready to go. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what the plans are going forward at the end, but let's get right into it because today we are talking about the Storm Revenant. Revenant, quickly, R3S Pearl. Cover stock, haven't used in a while. Remember the Intense, the Snap Lock, a ways back. And then the Spectre. I didn't drill a Spectre. This is meant to be sort of a Spectre replacement, which you will see from the Vector Core, which has only been in these two balls here. So I was coming in fresh. I didn't really have much to compare it to. I didn't use the Spectre when it came out. And this is mine, standard 4.5-inch pin layout. I wanted to go a little bit stronger with it because I had heard from others that it was pretty weak, that it was very clean. So I wanted to have something a little bit stronger to see if it'd be more usable because I don't have a very heavy roll in my physical game. Things tend to shoot and be cleaner off of my hand. So I wanted to see if I could get a little bit of help. Let's get right into it. So we're bowling on a house pattern that was used for like a 3-man league. So there's a lot of friction to the right. But even right out of the gate, I could tell that this was pretty clean. And, historically for me, there is not a lot of balls that are really clean that are that usable for me for the reasons that I said before. So I'm trying to get better at that and work on some things with this ball in particular. For me, I could tell right away also, it's pretty quick response. When it sees the friction, it likes to make that harder, sharper turn off of the spot. And you get kind of a better look of it from the low angle here. I tried to chase it in a little bit as well, which you'll see in a couple of shots coming up, and that's when the weakness sort of shows its face. First, you'll see one here that I thought was pretty good, and that's, one of those things. I was pretty surprised by that shot. I don't think it was that bad, but you could definitely see the quickness that's in there. And you'll see on that one there, we see that quickness again with this trip 4. I tried to get a little bit slower when I moved in, because I knew it was going to be a little bit weaker and probably struggle in that oil, and it still really came off the spot. And then as I keep chasing it in here, you'll see it really shoot. That one got to the right, but it really didn't have any chance to get back from there with those angles that open. So the ball I wanted to throw it against is the High Road Pearl, and that was for a couple of reasons. The first one was that, when High Road Pearls first came out, I saw them as the quickest ball that we made, and they were also pretty weak, so they weren't really even that usable for me. I've tried to make them look good for me because I've seen people have success with them. But when I threw this one, it's only had a couple of games on it since I drilled it. I began to realize that it certainly is one of the weaker balls that we have. It's really clean, but it wasn't anywhere near as quick as I remember it being. And that may be that it just has evolved over the years because it's been out for, 10 years now. But, you'll see when I'm throwing the High Road Pearl that the first few shots from where I started with the Revenant were nowhere near as quick, way smoother off the spot, and it was significantly weak. And, not until I really got slow did it start to shape right. And, it opened my eyes for I can probably use that ball in different ways than I tried in the past. So we're going to have a couple here kind of side by side to get that comparison of the two. And I really think that this Revenant is definitely quicker than the High Road Pearl. And I think that it is a little bit stronger as well. But I also think that they're both very much on the low friction end of the spectrum. And, those are the sort of things that me personally, I don't get to use a lot because even in, the high friction environments that we tend to bowl in, in my part of the country, with my ball roll, it just isn't something that I can usually get to with a few exceptions. And I think that it actually will be very good for people that are in higher friction environments, older surfaces, wood, things like that, as well as people that are very rev dominant, where their rev rate is more dominant than their ball speed. They don't tend to throw it as hard, but still have, higher rev rates. And, with this High Road Pearl as well, because I never really talked about it, I think that there's a lot that I can use with that ball, keeping angles squared up when I need something that's going to be a lot cleaner, but I don't want to be, in really trying to bang it. And this Revenant seems like something that I will be trying to use later in blocks, higher friction environments, and things like that. And then some league too. I don't bowl a lot of league, but around my area, there are some leagues that are in some houses that the weak stuff looks really good. And, to cap it all off here, I'm going to say it's low friction. It's not as low as that High Road Pearl. It doesn't seem, at least to me. I haven't had a ton of shots with either, but at this point, compared to a lot of the other things that I have in my arsenal, this Revenant is definitely on the lower friction side. From a response time standpoint, I'm going to call it medium quick. It is one of the quicker response balls that we have. Recently, there hasn't been a lot of really quick balls that we have come out with, and that was sort of the staple for a while. And so this has a shape and is usable in a way that there hasn't been a lot of stuff recently. The only caveat to that is the friction factor of it, and that it's a lot cleaner. But I think that it fits in a spot where there isn't really any balls right now that are similar to it. A lot of the relatively weaker, quicker things like the Wolverine Dark Moss, probably a touch stronger and also not quite as quick from a usability standpoint. So I think that this will have a spot for my game. It's not going to be used that often, but I think that a lot of the higher rev dominant players are going to really like what they see out of it, especially in a league environment where you can tend to use things on the quicker end of the spectrum. So as usual, we have people to thank. Obviously Storm, best bowling balls in the business. Vice Inserts, Bowl U has helped me tremendously. I like to try to use the language of them as best I can in these, and as usual, filming them at Brangelo Lanes, and with the help of Tim Friends Photography. He does videos, photos, anything that you could possibly need. He's the guy. Going forward, so I'm going to try to get some new release videos out. We have the Absolute, we have the TNT, we have the Eternity, we have coming up soon the DNA, the IQ Ruby. And I'm going to try to also, I filmed some video. I'm going to do some mini reviews of some of the more recent stuff that I didn't really get around to. Things like the Exotic Gem, the Zen U, and things like that. So be on the lookout. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. Hopefully you like some of the changes that we made. Let me know if there's anything that you would like to see or do not like from a change standpoint, and we'll try to keep evolving as we go. Expect, like I said, a lot more to be coming pretty soon. So that is it. We will see you next time.